Well, hey, everybody, this is Kim Stevens, your community leader for the Women of the Channel Leadership Network, and welcome to another WOW session. Now, listen, we're going to have some fun here. I'm just going to warn you right up front, because I have with me today Miss Wendy Hoey, who is the VP of Alliances for North America for Cymulate. Wendy, thanks for joining me.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So you guys, Wendy is a very active member of the community. She's part of our advisory board. So she's the one that helps us steer the ship on what we do for anything having to do with Women of the Channel. So I'm excited for you to get to know her. So Wendy, let's just start with some fun icebreakers, okay? Where did you grow up and where do you live now?
Okay, so I grew up in a city called East Kilbride, which is just south of Glasgow in Scotland. I left there when I was 18 and moved to Cambridge, predominantly for work, after my son was born. And then I was there for 20 years and then moved to the US, and I live in a place called Pflugerville, which is north of Austin. And I've been here 15 years now.
What is a little known fact about you?
I was a chef before I got into technology. I was training as a chef in college and working in a hotel just outside Glasgow. And then I was going into the military to finish my chef degree when I discovered that I was expecting my son. So that was kind of the end of my military career. Yeah, so that's not a lot of people know that I did that before I started working in technology.
And that sort of makes sense to one of the little known facts I know about you, which is the incredible artistic flair and apparently chef background on making very elaborate Jell-O shots.
Yeah, the boozy puddings. Yeah, so
I love it.
Started off just as a more of a thing as part of the parties that I host at my house, because we used to do a 4th of July. So I did the red, white and blue, and it's just kind of exploded from there. So that's my retirement plan, as I want to do party planning and write a book. I've got a website that I'm developing. So yeah, that's I make fancy Jell-O shots.
All right, so we're going to put a pin in that because every one of our members is going to want to get in on that. So let me just tell you that right now. So in your journeys, again, I find it so interesting. Any woman that I've met in the channel, if I ask if her goal was to be whatever level in the channel originally, and they're like, heck no, I didn't even know what the channel was, right? So
no,
when you look back,
go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was going to say that probably wasn't even a thought until all of a sudden it just sort of evolves and exposes itself to you, if you will, right? And then
I think it's people. I mean, I've been very fortunate throughout my career. I've had some great mentors. I've had people that have taken a chance on me, right? Because I didn't have a degree. I still don't have a degree. But I had other types of experience and personality that came to the table that really helped me advance in my career throughout the years. And I have been extremely lucky with leaders as well. I've had some great managers over the years that have done everything to help me advance and grow in the roles that I'm in. When I moved to the US and became VP for North America, that was the first sort of senior position I had, and I had the best time sort of building and growing that team out. So, and then I moved to Octave, which was completely different because it was an enormous organization with lots and lots of different people. So I went from like Computerlinks North America was 30 people when we got sold to Arrow, to now I think Optive's like 1,200 people. So it's just actually it's more than that now. When I joined, it was about 1,200. So it's just a lot of very lucky opportunities, and just always being present and asking the questions. You know, I've been very fortunate just to sort of work my way up in a lot of these companies that I've been at. So
what are some tips and things you would tell our members about if they have aspirations or maybe a mindset of how to approach things? What are some best practices that you would share?
Sure. So the one thing I would say is, if you don't understand something, ask, because I think that there's a big sort of, gray cloud over people actually asking for help, that you're showing some kind of weakness. but my approach has always been, and I will just put my hand up straight in a meeting and say, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you explain that to me? Because I think in this technology environment, a lot of people speak a different language almost. And I'm not from a technical background. I'm more of a sort of sales and commercial background. And I find that, especially with the way that this moves all the time, making sure that you keep on top of what's happening in the industry as well. So, you know, ways that I've improved is like, I have me time. So I have 2 hours a week booked out of my calendar that I turn my phone, my email off, and I'll go watch a presentation, or I'll read some white papers just to try and sort of bring myself up to speed. Also, what I'm really careful around doing is identifying people that are smarter than you are, that talk the same language. So especially when it comes to some of the technical guys, I've got a great guy that works on our team at the moment called Mike, and Mike's got a great way of putting things in layman's terms. So I think once you've got yourself into an environment, identify some of these people that you can be your go-tos for technical support that can, you know, speak an easier language. So I mean, that the me time, find somebody smarter than you, and then also encourage the people around you to know that you're available for projects and stuff like that. So volunteer for things. Try and get yourself, although that can be a blessing and a curse sometimes, because once they start seeing that you're a good, valid person to be part of it, they'll include you in things all the time. But yeah, I mean, I like to use the people around me and be aware of what their skill sets are, so that we're all going in the same direction. We all have the same goals. It's just how we help each other get there.
For somebody who might be shy, or who might be whatever, struggling with self-doubt or whatever, are there some things that you would just encourage them to just so that they can get out of their shell and just try to connect with people?
So start small. You don't have to know everybody at once, right? Find a few key people and just build up the rapport with them. Set regular cadence that's not necessarily related to work, right? So I have one-on-ones with all of my team, but I don't necessarily sit down and go through everything that you're doing on a week-to-week basis as far as your goals or MBOs, etc., or numbers, targets. I actually try and understand what's going on with them, what their interests are, to try and, you know, break down some of those barriers. And once you start to know people a little bit more, then that starts to come naturally. So we did a class at Optiv when I was there. It was a strengths training class, and rather than focusing in on negatives, they're focusing in on the positives, like where your real strengths are. All of mine are in the relationship building, like woo. So I have a lot of woo, and a lot of people I know that don't have woo really struggle with that, you know, interacting. Like, for example, if we have single people that come to Women of the Channel, we've talked about having a table with all the single women so that they're not feeling alone, right? It's a situation in a business environment. Not everybody, you're not going to like everyone you work with, and not everybody's going to love you. So the sooner you get to terms with that and start thinking about, okay, well, who do I have a good relationship with? Who do I have that type of, I can have those types of conversations with? Because then eventually what happens is you start to develop your own woo, right? And build your own confidence, because that's predominantly just a confidence thing, is, you know, going into a room and starting to talk with random strangers.
I've talked to several members, and I'm going to try to articulate this correctly, where they feel more in their comfort zone if they're talking about business, because they have their job hat on and they have structure. It's when they get out of that, when they're, you know, just two people talking, where they feel a little uncomfortable. And I just find that so interesting, right? Because in one, they're sort of, I don't want to call it playing a role, but they are in work mode. But it's when they get out of that, really when the relationships start to flourish, because then you get to know people. So to your point, don't be afraid to ask questions. People want to talk about themselves. So give them the opportunity. Just ask them about themselves.
And to be honest, if there's certain individuals that, I did this class back when I still lived in the UK with a guy called Chris Croft, right? And it was just a basic leadership class, and it was before I actually became a manager. I was just about to get a team. So they gave me this training as a sort of pre-management position. And I'll never forget, he told me some really simple things that have stuck with me for years. And it's all about the different types of personalities that you have to manage as a leader. So you've got amiable, enthusiast, analytical, and controller, right? And if you have opposites, they don't necessarily gel very well. And I had a young lad that worked on my team that was super quiet, like you were just saying, very shy, super quiet, but very, very analytical, wicked smart, very good at doing numbers and stuff. So I would start to get him to present part of our team meeting, right? To start giving him a wee bit more confidence in presenting in front of a group of people, because there's so many things that people just take for granted, that, oh, you've done a degree, so you know how to, you know, put a PowerPoint together and present. That doesn't necessarily equate all the time. So I think understanding those different types of personalities and knowing how to deal with them. If you've got somebody that is a little bit quieter, that's quite amiable, but maybe more on the sort of control, analytical side and a bit smart, then utilize those skills. So again, understand the types of skills that the people have and the types of personalities. And then if they get uncomfortable with asking those questions, don't spend the whole hour doing it. Just say the first 5 minutes, just how are things going? How's your family, whatever, and then move on, right? Yeah. But just break down some of those barriers, because then what I've found is if you have that type of relationship with your people, they are not afraid to come and ask you for help. They're not afraid to come and say, hey, I screwed up on something, right? Because everybody has at some point made mistakes, and you can't hold that inside all the time. Learn from your mistakes, share your mistakes, right? Share some of the examples that you've had so that other people don't make the same mistake, you know?
I could be in the worst mood ever, and I talk to you and it's over. It's like, it's gone. I'm in the best mood. So thank you for that. I appreciate you doing
saying that. I feel the same about you. And what I will say is that, you know, I am busy and there's always something going on, but I'm always just a call or an email away. So happy to talk to any of the members, chat with them about what they're doing, give them some direction or advice, or, you know, even just be a sounding board. I'm more than happy for people to reach out to me directly.
Thank you so much. So you guys, you heard it. So if you have not had an opportunity to meet Wendy, hopefully you will at one of our live events. If not, reach out to her on the community. Obviously, she's a wealth of knowledge. She's a joy to be around. And I'm just so blessed to get to work with her. And make sure you thank her for all that she does for Women of the Channel. I'm not kidding you. She helps steer this ship. She has great ideas, great suggestions. She calls it like she sees it. And that's what we need. That's what makes us better.
I have no filter, so I'll tell you straight.
Well, I love that about you. Oh, you guys, well, listen, give Wendy a thumbs up if you would. Give her a shout out, reach out to her, let her know that you appreciate her. And we will see you on the next WOW session. You guys take care.
Bye, guys.